How we make it on our day-to-day, whether that be with trauma, grief, or our anxieties, is something we just grow to accept about ourselves. The sunlight that you enjoyed yesterday might give you nothing today. After all, something changes every day and it takes a little bit of willpower just to get out of bed in the morning. What I never expected from a movie like MARCEL with Shoes On is how empathetic it is for our daily loss. Whether that be emotional or physical loss, everything might change for the worse the next day. But the people around us that either push us forward or help us back up keep us going.
So these are all the parts put together, and then now what?
I'm gonna put it on the internet and people can watch it.
Oh.
I watched the first Marcel the Shell with Shoes On short film on YouTube when I was 10 years old. And while it's difficult to recollect all the dumb garbage I watched on YouTube when I was a kid, Pokemon action figure stop motion was a big one for me.
Let's go Pikachu. Yep. Whee! Whee!
It's hard to describe the feeling I felt when the trailer for its film version released, even though it was only 3 minutes out of the thousands of minutes I had watched on YouTube.
Do you want to see me talk on the phone?
It stuck with me for some reason. Inevitably, I was pretty excited for the movie. And watching this movie was an experience I haven't really felt since I was a kid. And not in a depressing way. I genuinely haven't smiled, laughed, and cried that much during anything I've seen in the past couple of years.
What a sad type of idiot.
It felt like I was a kid again, and not in the sense that I was being reminded of my childhood directly with certain references or nostalgia, but it felt like I was experiencing the rays of the sun shining through my bedroom window, watching dust lit by the sun falling like snow, and genuinely feeling like time wasn't moving.
It's not the first time I've done that. My name is Marcel, and I'm partially a shell, as you can see on my body, but I also have shoes and a face. So I like that about myself, and I like myself, and I have a lot of other great qualities as well.
That's perfect.
Now, the titular Marcel Shell isn't a traditional kids movie protagonist. For sure, he experiences all the naivete and joy many kids' movies indulge in.
We call him Hardy Hairs.
But he also experiences a wide spectrum of emotions. He's a carer for his Nana Connie, he's an independent provider for himself, and he's lonely. Having lost his family 2 years ago, Marcel has trouble finding joy in the things he used to. Life has gotten pretty monotonous for Marcel, but the joy is found in Dean, the documentarian that just moved into Marcel's Airbnb home. As Dean asks Marcel more and more about his daily life, Marcel becomes more and more excited to answer. Everything Marcel was used to doing has become exciting again. Nana Connie mentions to Dean that Marcel needs this kind of attention, that it'll help him, which is paired with Marcel singing on an empty stage to an empty crowd of just Nana Connie. She's always there to make sure he knows he's significant.
The stage makes him feel good, playful. He needs that.
When the documentary within this mockumentary goes viral, Marcel learns both existential and joyful truths. That more of everything means Marcel's home is one out of millions of homes, and that everyone on Earth, despite never seeing each other, can experience happiness all at once and not even know it. It's this double-edged sword of being online. You can be aware of everything and everyone, but how can you suggest you're significant when everyone else is?
You know, Dean, have you ever thought that your life might be a bit less lonely and a bit more integrated if you took the time to connect with somebody and not just make videos about them?
Life has gotten pretty monotonous recently. I'm having issues being present because I'm always thinking about the future and what I'm going to do. And I truly have no clue where I'll be. Obviously, college is the major turning point in that person's life, but it doesn't feel like it's changed much for me. I'm still home with my family. I go to class just like I would in high school. It's a menial thing to get stressed about, but it's something I think about a lot. And this endless back and forth between myself and the sort of voices in my head convincing me that what I'm going through isn't valid. Will I even be ready if everything changes tomorrow? Seeing what everyone I've known has done over the past couple years inevitably makes me think of what I've been doing. It feels like nothing to me, just going through the motions, I guess. It's depressing to think so internally, but I have trouble putting things into perspective. Ever since the pandemic ended, I've essentially reinvented myself, mainly at the movie theater I work at. I used to be incredibly introverted and pretty much non-existent, to the point that I felt like I was an observer in my own life. The pandemic made me hate this part of myself even more so I decided to work on it. I'm not saying introversion is something to be fixed, but I personally had to for any kind of self-worth. I still feel this part of me and I hate when it comes out, but I have to acknowledge it sometimes. I've met some wonderful people over the last few years. They might have never known me before I was like this, but they're present now. They see parts of myself that I don't want anyone to see, but I value that more than I could ever express. I've been trying to express myself recently and be more vulnerable with people, but I find myself reverting back to the introverted self and not able to connect with people. It feels like I'm never able to escape that part of myself, and it's always going to be a part of me, and I can't shake it. But with Marcel's family might be out there waiting for him.
I do wonder what my dad would say, what my mom would say, and
But Nana Connie has always been there for him, making sure he's ready for more changes and difficulty. She never shies away from honesty, and she always understands how scared Marcel might be.
But just take the adventure. Don't use me as an excuse not to live.
It's the strength of being there for someone, knowing that you are personally struggling but putting it to the side to truly care for them. So no matter if I wrote this script last year and I still connect to certain aspects of it, and no matter how insignificant my life may currently feel as everything changes day by day, month by month, year by year, I have a community of people that care about me. It's everyone, though. The people I've stayed connected to after school, the people I struggled to connect to, and even the people I've only met and never became friends with. Everyone in my life has led me to where I am today. It kind of makes me feel like a product of time, as if I'm part of something greater than my doubts and anxieties. I don't want to be pretentious or self-indulgent, but it's an internal feeling. Not something religious or specifically spiritual, but a feeling, I guess. A feeling of self.
and I truly enjoy the sound of myself connected to everything.